Hey, what is up, traders? What's up, tycoons? Super excited for today's video. We're going to take a look at the bull market currently in gold and silver. So this first chart that we're looking at, we have the US dollar here in green, okay? And then we have gold and gold, and we have silver and silver, respectively, all right? We're also going to compare a couple other charts right before we dive in to the specific GLD and SLV charts and give you guys some good technical analysis on it. But take a look at what the trend is here, guys. The trend is your friend, right? And so we see the dollar peaked out here around September, October, and it's been heading down at a rapid pace. Now look at gold. Gold did the same thing. Okay, it bottomed out in September, October area, and we've just seen a sharp incline on gold and silver. Now, when it comes to gold and silver, silver is going to outperform at a higher degree in a bullish phase and underperform relative to gold in a bearish phase. So think of gold as kind of like Bitcoin, and then think of silver as kind of like the altcoins, right? So when Bitcoin goes up 10%, you see the altcoin market will go up 15, 20%, so it's a smaller cap, it's easier to pump up higher. And so that's kind of what we're seeing, right? Is silver is a little bit stronger than gold when it comes to that on the charts. So that's something to really to keep in mind. We're going to see if this trend can continue, right? Not only is it outperforming the dollar, okay, what we're going to do is we're going to slap on the stock market right here, the S&P 500. So notice how the S&P 500 has pretty much kind of gone a little bit sideways, right? So it still has lower highs right here. It's still technically in a downtrend, even though the stock market has been rallying as of lately. But when you look at it most recently, right, it's high, lower high. We have a high, higher high. We have a high, higher high, and then here we have a high, lower high. So gold and silver outperforming the stock market and the US dollar. Let's take a look at the bond market and see what it's doing there. We're going to snap the bond market on here, and it's also outperforming the bond market. Now, the bond market has been a little bit more bullish lately, especially after our recent economic data reports coming out. The bond market right here is going to be this red line, and we can see we're actually starting to make slightly higher highs in the bond market as a whole. But when it comes to, performance, gold and silver are still outperforming the stock market here in blue, the bond market here in red, and the US dollar. So it's going to be really interesting to see how this portrays out if this continues. Right now, another way that we can look at this stuff is we can come in here and we can actually you can do pairs. Okay, so if we do this, if we do GLD slash TLT, okay, we can see it's outperforming TLT, right? The beginning of this chart is 2022. All right, so this is basically a whole year time frame of chart, and we can see gold massively outperforming TLT for the year. We do GLD slash SPX. We can see outperforming for the entire year. Okay, keep in mind, this is the beginning of 2022 last year, and we're now in the beginning of 2023, outperforming pretty much everything you look at, right? Even if you want to compare it to tech, right? Big tech has been destroyed. Gold, so GLD slash XLK, and we're seeing outperforming. And it does this all over, right? We can do this with silver too, silver slash XLK. We can see silver's outperforming tech. We can see silver is outperforming the US dollar. If we come here and put DXY, we'll take a look and we'll see the same thing, see a very similar chart. Okay, now the dollar was on a massive rally. So again, September, October is when the dollar peaked, and the dollar rising so much really hurt a lot of stocks and commodities and other things like that. But we can see that here recently it's been peaking, right? And it's just been going on this very, very impressive rally. We can look at SLV slash TLT, okay, and just so you guys can help visualize this and really understand it and see, from 2022 to 2023, silver has been outperforming. So what we're going to do is we'll go ahead and we'll actually break down these charts individually now and give you some individual technical analysis on where I think some of these can go. Remember, none of this video is financial advice. This has all just been data that I'm presenting to you guys, and it's up to you to do whatever you want with that data. So we're taking a look at SLV first, right? And what I'm really watching on SLV is going to be a couple things. Okay. Ultimately, I'm tracking a larger 5 wave move to the upside. We have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 move up. Okay. That could take us to fill these gaps up here. That's what these blue boxes are. Okay. There's gaps on the daily chart. These gaps, they fill about 90% of the time historically. The big question is when they're going to fill, not if they're going to fill. So, we're tracking some possible scenarios where we come up and fill these gaps here on silver up to about potentially all the way up to close to $24 will be at 23.81. That's going to be our bullish pattern right now. We do have a rising wedge. Okay, we have this rising wedge right here that I've been tracking, and we broke below and we're retesting it, right? So it would be a textbook break below, retest, and then push down if we, start to end this bullish cycle that silver has been having. So, it could be a bull flag. If we look at something like this, right, this could be considered a bull flag and we could get a breakout to take us up there. But, I've been tracking this wedge is the actual pattern that I've been looking at. It is kind of forming into a bull flag, but, at the same time, it's very textbook to get a breakdown and then a retest, right? We came down and we filled this gap down that we were looking at that I said, hey, if we break this, we could come down and we could get an ABC move to the downside, but we really would have to break through our 3 major support levels right here. These are the 3 major retracement levels tracking the most recent move to the upside. So we have our low, we have our move up, and if we come down to these levels, it's still just a healthy retracement to continue up higher. Nothing moves in a straight line up and nothing moves in a straight line down. What you do is you move up, you retrace, and then you continue up higher, or you break that trend, right? So if you move up, retrace, and then break through those retracement levels, that's how you can spot a reversal. So that's why I'm looking at 2106, 20.67, and 20.28. Those are my 3 most important levels. If we do get some type of a breakdown to these levels, okay, it's going to be really interesting to see, do we bounce back up and then continue heading lower, or do we, find support off of here and get that nice 5 wave structure to the upside? So, that's mostly what I'm looking at on silver. There is a giant gap down on the daily chart, down to about $18, that potentially could fill. Now, keep in mind with our retracement levels, this is a much smaller retracement and a much smaller track of the move. If we look here, we have all of this has really been a justifiable retracement from this large move to the downside, right? So we had this large move to the downside and we've retraced up and we hit our 78.6 retracement level, right? We came here and that's where we've topped out. That's been our major resistance level. So the big question is, has all of this just been a healthy retracement? And now we're actually going to start this downtrend and potentially come back and fill this gap on $18? Or if we break out of this, right, and we basically flip 2246 from resistance to support, then we really could get this 5 wave structure to the upside and break out of this possible retracement that we're having and really get an impulsive move to the upside that could start a new pattern and a new wave. So it's going to be really interesting to see. As I've showed you guys, they have been outperforming pretty much every market there is when it comes to the U.S. markets, right? The U.S. bond market, the U.S. dollar, the U.S. stock market, and, it's been outperforming all of those. So will that money continue to flow in and continue to push this thing up higher, or are we going to possibly be starting the trend reversal? We'll take a look at GLD real quick. And you guys can see on GLD has been much stronger, on the chart, right? So when we see here, we had the original cup and handle that we were looking at. Okay, so boom, we got our cup and handle. We had this rising wedge similar to like how we had on SLV, but look what happened. We broke out above this rising wedge and we started to fill this gap up here, which is something that we're looking for to happen on silver. The gap up on gold is going to be on GLD is going to be 179.65. So it's going to be really interesting. Can we continue to push up higher to 179.65? If we look at our relative strength index, we have the same thing on SLV. We have this bearish channel, but SLV, it really hasn't broken out, right? What the relative strength index did here, the RSI broke out and it's looking like it's coming to retest this, this bearish channel right here and potentially head back up higher. Now you do have to be cautious of a look above and fail. So if we look above and fail and come back into this range, that's going to be a bearish indicator that we could be coming back to the lower end of this range. But this thing has been doing very, very well. We had the supply zone here that we were tracking. and we just completely blew right past this supply zone, started to attempt to fill this gap up here, but really got hit resistance at the bottom of this gap. So is gold going to can be able to continue to push up higher and fill its first gap and possibly even its second gap up to 184.44? These are the things that I'm watching right now. These are some of the things that I'm looking at. As you can see, we did have this sharp move to the downside, and we're retracing back upwards, and we really have some great momentum behind us. Now, one thing you want to look out for and be cautious of is going to be a MACD sell signal, which that's going to be this blue line crossing below this orange line here at an aggressive pace. If you look, we got the MACD sell signal right over here, and then we came out and had a sharp move to the downside. Now, it also works for entry signals as well. We had a MACD buy signal right over here in this area. It got a nice push upwards, and then ultimately the MACD curled back down below, and we came and we formed this triple bottom right here, and then we got another MACD buy signal, and that's what really started this tremendous rally. And if you look, it hasn't really been able to cross below and start trading below there. Yeah, we zigzagged right here a little bit, but we curled back above, and we're staying strong above. So we need to be cautious if it's going to come up and then curl back below this orange line. That could be a sign that this rally is over and that it's going to be due for some type of a sharp pullback, right? That's what we kind of just saw, and we took a look at over here. It's trading upwards and across below, and that's when really that bullish momentum cycle ended, and we made some new lows on it. So it's going to be really interesting to see. Any type of a pullback will be justified as a higher low if we pull our retracement levels up to where from our most recent low to our most recent high, we do have room to pull back and still make higher lows on the daily time frame and continue an uptrend, right? So we see we have the move up. If we pull back and retrace, we have 172.14, 170.07, and 167.99 are going to be healthy retracement levels for us to continue this move and head higher and possibly even fill these gaps. Now, as soon as we break through these major support levels, right, we come down, we break through, that's when we're going to spot a potential reversal. So pay close attention to these if we do get a pullback, and just be prepared in case we do come up and fill our gap up to about 184.44. So that's it for today's video. Just wanted to cover gold and silver. Those things have been really bullish, especially in the last quarter. And we're going to see, can this bullishness continue? And we're looking at, some of the possibilities of where it can go to and some of the gaps up that they have to fill. We know our major support levels on both GLD and SLV now that we need to hold to continue to go higher. Even if we get a pullback, as long as we hold those levels, we'll be in a healthy retracement range, and we could continue the uptrend. If we break those three levels, then most likely we're going to start a reversal.